We're going to start off with the latest involving the Pugh family, and we want to mention that there has been a campaign set up, a fundraiser for the family, and they had set the goal at $200,000, and they have blitzed past that goal in under 24 hours. The last check that I had seen, it was over $232,000. I'm sure it's even higher than that by now. And
245,000 as of this recording right
that's
now.
incredible. Extremely generous community that has come through here. But it's also with the knowledge of just how serious these injuries are to the two daughters, Gracie and Jaylee. And the person who organized this campaign, it's a family friend that has known the Briscoes since they were all kids in Sandy Fork, Delaware.
Josh Wharton.
Josh Wharton is his name, yes. So they put up a video, and Ashley, who's the widow of Jay, has been relaying information about the girls. And so Gracie is the one that she had mentioned was going into surgery Wednesday morning. So they noted that she initially had lost feeling from the waist down after a dislocation of the L2 vertebrae in her back, as well as fractures in the L3 and L4, and had to have surgery to try and relieve some of the spinal compression. So she did begin having feeling in her thighs, but nothing below the knee. And after the surgery, they could relieve some of the pressure, and it's a lot of waiting. But she is getting some tingling in the feet, but that's going on and off, and it's a lot of waiting at the moment. So
They actually released an update during tonight.
Oh, do you have any of that?
I do. I mean, a lot of it's in video form, so I encourage people to. If you go to Reddit and Squared Circle, it's the top thing up there. But they did state that she was getting feeling back in her legs.
Oh, that's great.
It was a very positive update. So I encourage everybody to go check that out, and of course, send your well wishes to the family, and if you can, donate to that page because. $250,000 might sound like a lot, but considering everything,
this is going to be a long, like you have multiple surgeries, like both girls have undergone surgeries. It was that first update we got was that Jaylee, the other daughter, was, in stable condition and doing okay. I mean, she had like significant injuries and herself having a surgery. She broke her tibia and fibula, a fractured neck. She's going to be
back and legs.
She's going to be in a neck brace for 6 weeks, a back brace for 3 months, broke her clavicle, perforated bowel, broken rib, internal bleeding. I mean, it's just horrific injuries that these two sustained. And as Wei mentioned, I mean, this is, it's not just the immediate issues that they're having, being hospitalized, undergoing surgeries, but the months and months of recovery that these two girls are facing, on top of just the grief of losing a father, losing a husband. And don't forget, they have a third child, a 13-year-old son, Gannon, who was at home during all of this. Obviously keep all of these individuals in your thoughts. It's just horrible story. And their mother, the Briscoe's mother, was actually interviewed on a local news station, and the parents made their way to the scene of the accident, and the father, Mike, was trying to speak with Jay, like in the wreck as well. So
awful.
I mean, it's such a small town as well, as they're explaining in the video. Like everyone knows everybody, and
they closed the school, the day after, and I believe the mother works there.
She does, yeah.
Jay Briscoe, I don't know if it was that school or another school, but he did
coaching football, where his son plays on the team. It is one thing that it is continually brought up about the Briscoes and not getting that chance at WWE or even AEW. And like, believe me, I do understand that, but I also look at, they were paid very well in Ring of Honor, and they got this life at home with their family and did not have to be on the road every single weekend and gone. And there is more than just the idea of making it big in WWE as like the be all end all. And it seemed like they had a pretty incredible life. And I think like there is certainly something to be said there that I don't know if they necessarily would have wanted to give up so much to go to the next stage of their careers either.
Sure. Yeah, that's certainly a silver lining to, all of this. If you can find any. I, you know, we'll probably talk a little bit more about just, the whole sort of a tweet situation and just kind of like people's kind of evolved feelings about that. But maybe it's absolutely great. I think, if speaking as a fan, maybe it was just like people wanting more of a connection with the wrestlers on a national stage. What that they certainly were talented enough to have, but
certainly.
were barred from.
Yeah, and I mean that's the situation, is that people have that issue, and I've been overall like very impressed with how nuanced the discussions have been this week by and large when it comes to the tweets and looking at this individual and hearing from a lot of people that had firsthand experience working with this individual. A lot of that led by Ian Riccaboni, but others too that have chimed in, and I think from all accounts, and I did reach out to Warner Brothers Discovery for a comment. They have not responded. And I think you look at Wednesday's show, and I just find it really, really disappointing to see that they made such a decision like that when I think your audience is having a much more adult conversation about this, a much more nuanced discussion. And this seems like if this was a month ago, I would have said, I think it's the wrong call that they are making. In light of the man passing away and wanting to do a tribute for him, I find it like nearly unconscionable that they put their foot down over this.
I'm just trying to envision, the type of conversation like a Tony Khan might have had with whichever Warner exec, who has, or maybe groups of executives who were very staunch in their decision to not allow a memorial show for a man who had just passed. When, a simple sort of like Google search or Twitter search of like, up to date sort of like feelings on the man would be enough to kind of tell you that the wrestling audience, it feels like, a lot of us, no, I'm not going to say everybody, but, a lot of us have updated our opinions about Jamin Pugh, Jay Briscoe a long time ago. And I feel it's really unfortunate that like that sort of sentiment didn't really get a bigger sort of reach outside of our little bubble. And I'm seeing a lot of like responses from wrestling fans, even themselves, who were really not aware of people like Ian Riccaboni saying the things that he said, while he was still alive. And that part is really unfortunate, because even if a wrestling fan doesn't know, well, how would a Warner executive know enough,
It's unfortunate. It's like it's a really tricky thing to unpack of how you are to go about this, because it's almost as though Jay Briscoe needed to champion his own campaign and make it into almost like some kind of PR spectacle.
And the fact that he didn't tells you he was that much more genuine about it all. Right?
And that's the irony of it, is that the fact that he didn't feel the need to have to broadcast all of this, but those around him, like it was the actions, like he put it to work and people got to see for themselves, but he was not the one broadcasting it, and for that was punished greatly beyond what I feel the offense was. And and again, having that understanding is not an endorsement of what he said in any way, shape, or form. And I think everybody understands that. I'm seeing a lot of like adult conversations about a very difficult topic, and in an online setting where adult conversations don't typically take place. And maybe it's just selective where I'm choosing to, follow a lot of this, but it's, I think it's just greatly, greatly unfortunate and disappointing. And throw in the power slap stuff of what you are going right next to. I thought Warner Brothers Discovery came off so poorly, and anyone to be critical of them, I think is more than warranted. And the fact that they are not even, like, you can also disagree with their stance. They're also not even offering a statement yet and standing by their decision.
They almost, to me, like, just, from the outside looking in, it gives off the vibe that this is not important enough to them for them to deal with, for them to look into, to see who, what type of man Jay Briscoe was, what type of, things people have been saying about him, and it's almost, especially with the Dana White power slap deal, just feels like they're just kind of turning a blind eye to all the criticism, and they're just going to go ahead and proceed with whatever they want to.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss as we move on regarding any of the coverage you have seen, any of the tributes, anything else in regards to Jay Briscoe?
I think a lot of it has really been touched on, but it's been a story that I think has continued to evolve. It's a story that's still very active as we await these updates on these little girls, of course. So I'm happy to see that, it feels like as a community, we have really given this guy sort of a redemptive story when it comes to at least those controversies. And this is why it's important to talk about it, because to me, this is a positive story. It's one that has shown that somebody can grow from a past mistake, and can change really for the better. So it's just, as a media member, John, you and I just continue to do a lot of reflection of like, what our place is, in trying to boost like the ability for somebody to change, for instance. So I really enjoy reading the discussion. I hope we all continue it as a wrestling community going forward, and we await to see, what the future is for Mark Briscoe. It's kind of weird in like seeing. Let's not, for like it is the death of the Briscoe brothers tag team. Like, we're never going to get that again. So you're seeing a lot of tributes that are like bundling Mark's name in as well. But it's kind of weird because the man is still very much alive, and we obviously, it's way too soon to even speculate about whether or not he even wants to continue a wrestling career. But in the event that he does, I kind of wonder what that would be like. But yeah, it's probably way too soon to even discuss that.
I mean, I was asked that in an interview this week, and I didn't have an answer. Like, there's no way to know what. I am sure that is not something that's even in his mind at this moment. It's elsewhere. I hope that his career continues. You can also see why. I mean, he was part and parcel with his brother from the time they were teenagers, like learning in their backyards before they ever got to ECWA or, explode. Like every step in their career was in concert with the other.
Every step in their life, his life.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the professional wrestling side. Like it's, I cannot imagine. And I know there's a lot of concern that people have for Mark among everybody else in that family.